Hello. There are many different forms of communication systems available to people diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Um, some of these communication systems include sign language, voice output device or speech generating devices, um, speech imitation training, and PECs. All of these different systems have pros and cons depending on different learning styles and the skills of the learner. Um, some prerequisite skills that might be required for some of these might include imitation, fine motor skills, attention gaining strategies. Um, Another issue might be a lack of communicative partners, and that's kind of specific to sign language. Um, Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about PECS, which according to the National Standards Project is an emerging intervention for people diagnosed with autism. PECS was developed in 1985 for children who are not developing speech in the typical developmental pattern. Um, so there are 6 phases of PECS training, and I've actually got a PECS book here that we can look at while we go over the 6 phases of training. Phase 1 is how to communicate. So this phase involves determining and approaching your communicative partner, um, requesting an item, and then in return gaining access to that item that you requested. Um, so for example, in the initial few phases of PECS, this can be blank. The child does not need to discriminate between different pictures. I don't have a blank card, so I'm just going to use it for snack. But you would run a preference assessment and determine that the child actually wanted the snack, or that was the most motivating item for the child. Um, and then you would teach the child to take the picture off of the book, give it to the communicative partner, and in return the child would get access to their snack. In the second phase of PECS training, you are taught to discriminate, or I'm sorry, you're taught to distance and persistence. Distance meaning that your PECS book is set, maybe 5 to 10 feet away from you, and you have to go access your PECS book, and then you need to go to find your communicative partner. And then upon finding your communicative partner, you need to actually be able to gain their attention, whether it's tapping their shoulder, putting the PECS strip directly into their hand, getting their eye contact, any way that you might gain someone's attention. In the third phase of PECS training, the child is taught to discriminate between symbols. So in the third phase of PECS training, that's when you would actually teach the child to discriminate between multiple pictures. For example, the child would need to know the difference between a ball popper and snack. In the fourth phase, a child is taught to use phrases. For example, on the bottom of your PECS book, you would have a sentence strip, and right here, or right here, I guess, it would say, I want, and then the ball popper, and they would take off the sentence strip and give it to their communicative partner. In the fifth stage of PECS training, the individual is taught to answer a question. So the communicative partner would start off by saying, what do you want? And then the child would have to go to their PECS book, use their PECS sentence strip, I want snack, and give that to their communicative partner. Finally, in the sixth phase of PECS training, the child is actually taught to comment. So instead of saying, I want or I need, they would say, I see. And in this phase, you would use novel, interesting items, and then the child would gain access to a reinforcer based on telling their communicative partner what they saw. Some of the pros of PECS is that it's easily understandable to the general population. No one has to be trained in PECS in order to read off a sentence strip that says, I want a snack. Research has shown that using PECS usually increases verbal language, and also there's not a lot of abstract thought that goes into PECS training. Finally, it's all visually based, and visuals are a huge support system for people diagnosed with autism. Some of the cons of using PECS is that some individuals are not able to scan an array of pictures. They're not able to discriminate between different pictures, or they're not able to attend. And there are ways to combat some of these uh, you know, problematic prerequisite skills. So instead of using pictures, you can use maybe miniature versions of the object that they're requesting, or life-size versions if that's what the child requires. So that's just some basics about the use of PECS. I hope you enjoyed.